Good afternoon. Welcome to the School of Thought podcast. Today, our subject is why a wedding officiant is a very important part of your wedding. And my co-host and guest on today, Miss Latrice Roman, she's an officiant. And between us, we have a lot of years of officiating wedding. So we're just gonna have conversation on why is it important to have a wedding officiant, or how important a wedding officiant is in your wedding, and the role that a wedding officiant plays in your wedding. So and we both have our companies, Riverwalk Wedding and Put a Ring on it in Dallas, and we both have our wonderful little place where you could elope, so you don't have to go to the courthouse, and we make it very special for you. So with our experience, we just want to give you some wisdom and some tips for those of you who want to be married, or those of you who are going to get married, who's engaged, and we just want to kind of give you some wisdom, some tips for you to understand the role of the officiant, because a lot of people don't understand the role, and how important the officiant or the in your wedding, because it seems like everybody think the venue is more important, and everybody go get the venue, they go get the flowers, and then the officiant is kind of last, maybe if it's in the budget or anything like that. So we just kind of want to bring in some wisdom today, and how important is the officiant is in your wedding planning. So, Mr. Cheese, I'm going to let you start with your thought first. What do you think?
I think it's very important that you have a professional wedding officiant, because there's two different things between anybody can be an officiant, but to find a professional wedding officiant makes a big difference.
That is true.
Because you can hire your Aunt Sue or your Uncle Joe to be your officiant, and those people can, destroy your wedding, because they're not prepared, they don't know what they're doing, they've never even talked in front of a group of people.
Mm-hmm. I've seen that happen.
Yeah,
especially if they get nothing against pastors or anything, but that's not their first job. That's not their first priority, is to do your wedding. So I had last minute calls from a lot of people and said my pastor was going to do it, but something happened and he had a funeral, which is more important than a wedding to a pastor, or something happened, I can't make your wedding, because it's not their first priority. So what you said was important. Getting someone that is professional, that is their profession. That is what I hired them to do. It's not someone that just picked up. I've seen it on TV where they just go on the internet and get a license and say, okay, I'm a wedding officiant. And I just don't think that people understand the importance of it. It's cute when they say, well, my friend is doing it, or my uncle is doing my wedding. It's all cute, but if you understand the importance of it, to me, having a family member to do the wedding, you have to really be careful, because they have to really understand it's more than just something cute or something, oh, look at my little nephew getting married, and my the auntie, and they'll start crying, or they don't show up, something happened, or they get nervous, anything could happen. But to me, I feel like it's such a important transition that takes place in the middle of an officiant is literally taking you from single life to married life. That's a transition of life. That's something that you take serious, and that's the reason why we stay in training. We continue to go to different type of conferences and training, and getting updated in things that we can do to make your day special, because that is your day, that is your special day. So you need an officiant that understand it's not about them, it's about me, it's about the couple. So I know you probably got a lot last minute of wedding officiant to perform from people who did not show up, something happened, or something happened with the friend and they didn't show up, or they mess up the whole wedding, and things they shouldn't have said, they forgot, and they said it, I thought I told you to say that, I told you not, child, I just got caught up, and it's just so beautiful. And then I'm sure you got calls like that.
Yeah, or you hear the horror stories. So when you talk to people after their weddings, and you always, so I like to ask people that have been married for a long time, if you could do it again, what would you change? And then usually it's the
The
story.
officiant.
Yeah,
Yes.
a lot of times end up being officiant because
Yes.
the one thing about hiring somebody to be your officiant that really don't know you is you get to feed them the knowledge of what you want them to share. You kind of give them the base of what you want your wedding to look like, what you want to look like, how do you want to feel, and that person can create something for you. But when you hire your aunt or your uncle, this person has known you your whole life. So you can't be mad when they bring up this kid story that you didn't want anybody to ever hear about because they knew it and they thought it would just fit in the moment.
Exactly.
But for you, you wanted it to just be something that was never told again, but they thought it was cute.
Exactly.
So that happens a lot where you just hear the horror stories. Or I think recently I seen a guy who he read the marriage license at the wedding ceremony.
Oh my God.
And he started the wedding with he just read verbatim the marriage license and then he went into the wedding.
Oh my goodness.
So it was like, what was going on here? Who taught him that?
Exactly.
And where did he find that at? I don't think in any of my training have I ever decided to read a marriage license.
I didn't even think about that. That wouldn't even enter my mind about the marriage license. Like, you're gonna read the license. So it's because we've heard a lot of bad horror story is the reason why we wanted to do this. I'm like, you know what? People need to know what's really going on, and especially if they have more than one member in their family, they don't know which one to choose.
Yeah.
And if I choose this one gonna be mad. If I choose that one. So you get someone new who don't know you. You get a professional person, just like you have a professional coordinator, a wedding coordinator. You don't get friends.
Yeah.
I've heard a story about that too. That's my friend, and they didn't do this, didn't do that. And I really strongly recommend something as strong as or as important and sacred as wedding. You don't hire family members. Really.
No.
That's not recommended. You hire a professional person that can do the job, and you know that will not disappoint you. Right?
Yeah.
We sit down, we talk to you, find out what you like. And one of the things that I've get religious wedding, some people may want to add scriptures, or some people say I don't want to mention God. We find all those information and how would you like your ceremony, something that's going to last forever, that you can't redo all over again, is done. Once that moment comes, you could have a vow renewed, but that moment could never be repeated again. So you want to make sure that moment, that sacred moment, is captured by your officiant, and it can if the officiant is professional.
Yeah.
Like us. So we do work a lot. Like if a wedding, I'm not able to do a wedding, then I will call Latrice, and she does the same thing. So we work together, partner a lot together. So and I know she's very good, and always get a lot of good feedback from the people that you married that I had. So I'm glad we're able to bounce back on each other, and she have helped me a lot in really starting and getting new things. When I say updating my what do you call that?
I'm shocked you listen.
Yeah. So you have helped me, and I appreciate that, because the reason that's important, because especially us African American, that we get intimidated when someone is in the same field, and we think they're stealing something or taking something from us, and you were so helpful to me in things that I was not aware and needed to update and things like that. And you were giving me information about, like, every time I would ask question, you were like, yeah, this is it, and you would send it to me. And I appreciate that about you, because I don't find that often, especially among us in our tribe, because everybody feel like, no, you're gonna take away from me. But I don't see that, because what belongs to me belongs to me, what belongs to you. Because if somebody wants you to marry them, they're not just gonna go to a different person. They really want you. They really want you.
Yeah.
They will tell you, hey, you're the one that I want, and I want you to marry me. So I appreciate that about you, because you have been really kind and very helpful in a lot of areas that you helped me. So I thank you for that.
Yeah, because I don't believe that we are a competition. I don't believe that anybody who does what I do is my competition.
Yes.
I know a lot of people. I say, well, there's a lot of people out here who do what you do. Or do you feel some kind of way? They're a competition, and I'm like, no, because we're actually out here searching for our people. And every couple that I meet, either they're going to be my people or they're not going to be my people. And so when I start looking at it like that, because I'm not going to say that I've never had moments where you see another person come up on Facebook or Instagram and they're like, I'm an officiant now.
Yeah, I know.
And you don't think, oh my God, here goes another one.
That's because people think it's easy.
Yeah.
There's, oh yes, I want to be an officiant, until they start like, I think I changed my mind. They don't understand when you, and I know you experience that as an officiant, when you enter the wedding ceremony, you pick up all of the energy from everybody, and you have to have the capacity to handle that. And I don't care what wedding, I'm tired after, because I picked up everybody's energy. Especially the bride. And if she's nervous and this is going on chaos, you, the officiant, actually bring order to the atmosphere, to bring order, even calm the bride down, calm everybody. I've places where even the coordinator was going crazy, and I had to just kind of walk through and bring everybody down, bring everybody into order. This is what we're gonna do. Otherwise, sometimes they'll make you sit there for 2 hours, and wedding is late.
Yeah.
So that's a whole different subject.
So you have to be willing to adapt, and then you have to be willing to also know that you have to be open for change, and you have to be able to talk to people. And I think that's what's not taught. There's a lot that's not taught when you say, I want to be a business owner, or I want to be officiant, or I want to start this business. There's like so much, there's the little pieces that are not taught to you. Nobody tells you, okay, you got to be able to do conflict. You got to be able to handle conflict, or you got to be able to.
Zillow.
Yeah. you got to know how to talk to these people. You got to be able, nobody teaches you that. They just show, the picture is a person standing at the wedding.
Exactly. That's it.
But
you're dealing with different characters. Everybody's not the same. The bride and the groom are not the same. Even the day of the wedding, the time their personality just go through a loop because they're nervous. Things are happening, and sometimes what I recommend, especially as a bride, to be careful that you don't have a conflict with your officiant. I don't know if you ever had that with want to argue with the officiant, and some of them have called me and said, I got mad at my officiant and I start arguing, so I'm just gonna get somebody else. You don't argue with your officiant, because that is a very important person of your wedding ceremony. You need to have a different attitude, different energy, a different vibe. Calm yourself down when you're speaking to your officiant. To me, the officiant is almost like your minister. Even though if you may not be a minister, but it is the minister of your ceremony. Whether you want God mentioned or not, that is the minister of your ceremony. So you need to have a different vibe, different connection. Because you upset your officiant and they got to stand there, smile, and talk about lovely things about you, knowing you just cuss them out. It just doesn't work that way, So you got to be careful and understand the importance of that officiant holding both of your hands and really transition you from single life to married life.
Yeah.
So that's important.
And I think that's like when it comes to couples, even as the officiant, I think that's one of the skills even on the officiant when you're looking for the officiant, is making sure that they got how they process things. Because that I tell people when I show up at weddings, that last 45 minutes before wedding start is when everything happens.
Yes.
And usually I'm the one person who sits back and just watches it unfold. That's when a dress don't fit, or a bun just popped, or they can't find the father of the bride. And it's like a lot of stuff is going on in that last 45 minutes. Yes. And even like a few days leading up, that's when you get the most crazy calls from the bride. Yes. So yes, I have had a bride that has sent me the most craziest text message. I was like, oh my God. And so I
share with us.
And I guess some of it was I didn't communicate right with her, but I thought it was well communicated. And I could have done better, because I just realized like she had a lot on her plate. So she was a person that didn't have a planner. She had all this stuff on her plate. She was the everything. Okay. And so the conflict between the two of us was she wanted me at the rehearsal. Oh. And I was like, I don't normally do rehearsals. Yes. Most of you have, depending on how the venue is set up, sometimes the venue, once you start going to the venue, they have a person that helps with all the staging. So I wasn't supposed to be at her rehearsal. Mm-hmm. She missed all of that, even though we had discussed it. And I guess I should have just wrote it out a little bit better to her that I was not going to be there. So she had the rehearsal, got done with the rehearsal, some of the people at the wedding was now in her ear at the rehearsal, like, so how is this wedding going to work, and how is it going to work if the most key person is not at the rehearsal?
Oh, wow.
And it was like, so she sends me this long message, so I had to like respond to her as if it was like McDonald's, so the customer's always right. And you know, I had to apologize, but then I had to make her understand that what my place was at the rehearsal, and we was not going to go over the ceremony. Like if I read the ceremony at the rehearsal, then we're literally, I married you.
Exactly.
So what's the purpose of me showing up at your
Exactly.
at your wedding?
Exactly.
So and once they kind of understand that, so I've learned as the best way for me to handle the conflict is just to be the calm one.
Exactly.
Sometimes that means you get a lot of the beat up.
Exactly.
But once they realize that you will not match their energy, then
Exactly.
they just brings them back down.
Exactly.
And so I think that's where a lot of the time,
Send them a
anybody-
lot of hearts.
Yeah.
Everything you said, heart. Heart.
yes. And so I think that's where when it hits a lot of like newer people who are just chasing the dollar
Mm-hmm.
to be an officiant,
Mhm.
they don't get that.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
so as soon as they have conflict, they meet that person
Exactly.
right where that person is.
Exactly.
And it's not, you don't understand that this person this is like a big point in their life. Like
Exactly.
wedding, we never get married with the intentions that we're going to ever do this again.
Exactly.
So the person is going crazy, and then the closer it gets, it's like you want everything perfect.
Exactly.
You've had this plan in your head.
Yeah.
I always tell people I'm a Disney baby, so I was born in the '80s. So for me, playing a wedding is you're thinking about Snow White and Cinderella and all this, and that's what you're expecting.
Exactly.
So
You have said, you made so many great points about, especially about the rehearsal. My thing is, I tell people, wedding officiant is not necessary at a rehearsal because our interaction is between us and the couple. That's it. So I do a virtual rehearsal just to explain to them the structure. I'm not gonna tell you every word I'm gonna say, but this is gonna be first, and the wedding it's time for the wedding ceremony. I'm not wedding, the ring ceremony, exchange. So I tell them what's gonna be next. But actually, there's nothing for us to do except stand there. So
Yeah.
that's a waste of our time, unfortunately, and then the waste of your money because we have to charge you to show up.
Exactly.
And so we're trying to help you budget and make sure that your money is preserved properly. But there's no need for rehearsal with the officiant. And you're right, and I don't like it. It makes me feel so uncomfortable. But I want to know everything you're gonna say. Then the words won't be fresh. Then you know every single thing. And I had a bride that did that, every single word. She changed everything about 10 times. We went back and forth, what about this? Well, I want to see everything. She controlled the whole ceremony, and it just took the taste out of things that you wanted to say. And then as I'm doing the ceremony, I was like, she was listening to everything. I'm like, ma'am, pay attention to the husband right here. You need to pay. You know, you're missing this moment over here. And she said every word. Like, did she say the right word? She missed. And even in her review, I had to call her. She was like, well, Dr. Hunter didn't miss this and this. I said, ma'am, I emailed you back what you said to me. Oh, I didn't see it. I said, exactly. Please erase that review because that is not correct. And you would have those type of bride, which I don't too much like to deal with, but I've tried my best to show them love and patience and understanding. But I don't recommend, if you trust the officiant that you hired and you speak to them and let them know what your heart, what you're looking for, you have to be able to trust that, especially if you read their reviews. Read the review. Don't pick someone that don't have any review and you playing guessing game. Read to see what other couples are saying about the officiant. Then you'll be able to trust them and say, well, I know they're going to do good for me. Because I know this happened to you. I've been hired by a couple who heard me from other weddings. And they're like, I love your energy. I want you to do my wedding. So that's something that I'm grateful for, because after the ceremony, I would have the mother, father, the parents and the guests will come, oh my God, I love your ceremony, I love your ceremony. So I'm very grateful that have always happened. So I'm saying to you, if you're gonna hire an officiant, a professional one, I hope, make sure you read the reviews. Make sure you so that you'll be able to trust them and know that they're going to say the right thing. That you don't need to know every single word that they said. And
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
And I think when you first decide you want an officiant, book a consultation with them. I think I know there is officiants out here that books by text message. If you're a text message person, if that's your era, then do that. But I suggest that everybody book a consultation with their wedding officiant.
Yes.
You can do it Zoom, you can do it by phone, but that gives you opportunity to see if you guys match. If that's your person, you can say. So, like I said before, we have our person. So if you are a person that like a micromanage, find yourself an officiant who kind of thinks the same way you do.
Exactly.
Versus just someone that wants a little bit more freedom. So then you guys don't have any kind of conflict.
Exactly.
And you can find that out before you even give them $1.
Exactly.
You know, you could say, that's not my person. Let me go call another person. You have the right to pick as many. You can call and talk to as many officiants as you want to
make sure
find your person. So
exactly.
And I think that's where people get confused. Mostly if you're in the rush of finding a wedding officiant.
And I had those. And what you said, I keep it open. Some people want to book over text. They don't want to talk. I don't have time. Okay, here's your money. And I'm like, okay, but it is open if you want to chat. If you want to, whether text, email, chat, I just leave it open. And I had a couple that say, yeah, we'll set a consultation. We do a Zoom because I want them to be able to see me and feel comfortable. Some of them just, no, I'm going to do text. I'm fine. I read your review. And then, so I just leave it up to them what they want to do. But I would recommend that you do have a chat first and you want to make sure you connect, because sometimes you're just not connecting. And whatever that person is, I want to marry the people that I'm supposed to marry. I don't want to marry somebody else's couple. That's somebody else's job. So I want to marry the person that I'm supposed to. And I've had some kind of divine moment of couple that I married, like, oh my God, we didn't have time to talk. It was the last minute, but you said exactly what I wanted. And so those are kind of divine couple that meant to be your couple and your person, as you said. So I love those. So be very careful and understand the importance, what role the officiant is taking you from, not only from a spiritual part, but also from the illegal to legal part. All of that matters. You want to make sure that they know what to do with the certificate, how to sign it, where to sign. It's extremely important. And sometimes I give it back to them if they want to take it to the city. Sometimes I offer to mail it to them, and I send a picture of me at the post office giving it to the postman so they could feel comfortable. Okay, she did mail it, so I should get something, and a recorded copy. So also, I want to talk about the fee. Why we charge the fee that we charge, because you'll have some couples that feels like they're looking for less expensive instead of value.
Yeah, so I always try to tell people, because some people, they'll call me and I'll give them my price and they're like, but I only need you for 30 minutes. And so
exactly, they think it goes by the minute. Like, oh
I
my
need
God.
you for 30 minutes. And it's like, okay, so there's a lot more for them 30 minutes. Like, it's just like you go to work. You don't go to work for free.
Exactly.
And every minute of your workday is pretty much, it has a fee. It has a price attached to it. Exactly. And so the same thing happens with me. Everything that I do that's associated with your wedding is taking that big number and then breaking it up into pieces. Mm-hmm. So the consultation is free, just for us to talk. But then everything after that kind of starts working my fee. From the moment that I send you a questionnaire out, and then I got to work the questionnaire, and then I got to put together your ceremony.
Exactly.
And then I got to sit and we got to get back together and discuss your ceremony. Me showing up early to your event, me being there for your event for however long it takes for me to make sure that everything is done. Mm-hmm. That is what the fee is. So it's like, that is pretty much like their hourly rate that they will get for work. So it might be $20 some an hour, but they're at work for 8 hours a day.
Exactly.
So they're not making $20 off of what they do. So they have, so once they kind of understand that fee is like my hours of time dedicated to you to make sure you have something amazing and wonderful.
Exactly. And that's what I believe people miss. Time is money in everything. When you are telling me to cut off my time for you, of course you can't ask me to invest my time for free. Because as you said, you're not investing anything at work for free. If you pass 5 o'clock, you want to get paid overtime. right? If they call you, even now, there's like, if you want to call me at home, you're going to have to pay me. So if you that detail about making sure you get your money, so this is our living, why would you not understand that our time is money? So when we carve that time, even in our calendar, that's mean any other request that come at the exact date and time, we have to turn it down because you are booked on July 6th at 3 o'clock. Another wedding come July 6th at 3. That's money we're turning away. So that's the reason why it is important to understand it is my time, and I have to do your agreement. I have to email it to you. So we have to keep all of our portals professional, everything professional for you, to give you the time doing the virtual rehearsal there anytime that you want. You could text, call, and can we talk to you? We take the time out of whatever we're doing throughout the time. And sometimes people book a month or a year or 6 months. That's mean that whole time we available for a conversation, for anything that you need. So understand that the value of your fee, because from what I've noticed, I've seen people pay $30,000-$40,000 for a venue, and then they get upset. Oh, your fee's $200. Oh my God, can you do it for $100? And I'm saying you just paid $30,000 for your venue, but the most important person in your wedding, you want to chip them. I'll just get somebody else. And a gentleman did that, and I said, "You sure?" Yeah, because I found somebody less expensive. The day, an hour before the wedding, they just called me, told me they can't come. Can you come? I said, "No, sir, but I'm already booked." So you missed that one. So I hope you find somebody else.
Let me add this last minute fee to you, though.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So you want cheap, and you get cheap service.
Yeah.
So you get what you pay for. And in anything in life, you get what you pay for. So I just want people to understand that. Even with I'll go to the courthouse, but the courthouse and having a justice of the peace marrying you is different than a professional officiant.
It is.
Because the courthouse, even at the last minute, if the judge have to do something, they'll cancel your wedding, because that's not their first job. You are not their first priority.
Yeah.
So like, I just want to go. You're gonna pay the justice of the peace anyway. So why not have someone that that you connect with, that could customize your ceremony that moment in a better way than going to the justice of the peace and them just
It's almost that energy.
Exactly.
You just imagine
And
you're getting married
that's
in a
why I call it
courthouse,
justice of
and
the
they
peace.
just threw somebody in jail an hour before. They done got cussed
Girl,
out.
I was thinking the same thing. They just put somebody away 10 years, 20 years, and you're going to turn around and marry me? That's the same vibe you bring into my wedding.
Yes.
Oh my God. And somebody just got divorced, right? You're divorced, and then you turn around and marry me. You carrying that same spirit, that same vibe to my... Oh my
it's
goodness.
in those walls. So,
Oh my
it's always some
goodness.
people like,
Oh.
can you imagine all the stuff that goes on in that one room?
Exactly.
The happiness, the sadness, no.
There's no happiness at the courthouse.
No.
If somebody's there for the divorce or jail or
The wedding
some,
is
exactly.
only happiness in adoptions.
Yes, that's it, right? Or they're nervous, they don't know if the adoption's gonna go through. So everybody in the courthouse have like that nervous cloud. I don't know what's gonna happen, what the judge gonna say. Judgment are passing all day. Why would I want to bring my special day into that, right? I should just be going to the courthouse to get my license. That's it. Then take it to a professional person that carry a happy vibe, that's thinking about me. I'll take it to them for them to marry me. All right. So I'm ready for some questions. Anybody have any questions? Yeah, we have a question in the house. All right. We have a question. What's one major thing a person should heavily consider if wanting to become a wedding officiant? And that's something.
You want to answer that first? Or
No,
should
I think you should answer that question.
Who this question by?
Exactly.
Let me
Who's
call you
asking
by
that
I can't see,
question?
I'm blind. But Dr. Anderson? All right. So for me, the one thing I'd like you to consider is all the hats that you wear. If you've listened to us, we have had a lot of stuff, a lot of people that we have met. And the one thing I need you to understand is that we are everything. So like being a wedding officiant is a small business. it can become something big, but it's still considered, people are going to respect your business as a small business. You are everything. You are you're the marketing agent, you are the advertising agent, you are the secretary,
the peacemaker.
You're the boss, the employee, the janitor. You're all those many hats. So the one thing that you have to always make for sure is that you can handle all that. Exactly. It's a great business. You will meet amazing people, do amazing things, but you have to make for sure that you're ready for all the back end, because what you see when you're online and you're looking at different wedding officiants is you see the pretty part of it.
Exactly.
You see Miss Hannah was like kicking up that red foot. So you know you inspired me to get a pair of red slides. So I had to say that I got a pair after her. But that
is my gift to myself, right?
I got inspired, I got me a pair too. But that is the one thing that we show when we're out doing the work, but the back end. So be ready for the back end. That's a lot of things that people don't tell you or show you. So that's the one thing I think that you should truly consider when you're wanting to be an officiant. It's just making sure that you're ready for all the hats. That's a lot of things that we don't. That's one of the things that we don't realize when we work 9 to 5s, because we work in these big companies, and there's a lot of people that makes the moving parts work. And when you work for yourself and you do this job, you are the moving pieces. And so you have to be able to balance that time so you don't get burned out, and that you can continue to want to do this, and you'll be a person saying, I've been doing this for years and I'm still happy. Because people don't do things that you don't continue to do things that you're not happy doing.
Exactly.
So you have to make for sure that you can do this and be happy, because your energy will roll off to your couples.
Exactly. I had one young lady that told one of my mentees, she said, I saw your mentor doing weddings, so I know I could be an officiant. She came back almost like somebody that beat her and said, you know what? Never mind. You have to be called to do that, because it's not as easy as I thought. You cannot understand that sometimes we don't feel like it. We may feel like, oh, I don't really want to. And we have to muster up everything inside of us. Happy time, good vibe, good spirit. And you literally have to do the work, because we're tired. We have other jobs or other stuff we're doing. So, but we have to do the inner work to make sure that we prepare to carry the energy of the wedding. Because I really believe we carry that energy. We literally bring things into order, especially with coordinators that are like, oh, I don't know what I'm gonna do, and I'm just like, okay, let's do this first. How about this? We're gonna make sure the wedding is on time, because you're also looking at the people that's sitting there that's been waiting for an hour.
Yeah.
We have to know what to do. Coming to a wedding and just sitting in the corner and not saying anything and thinking that you're just gonna say, would you take so and so? It's more to it than that. Because you also have to go to the bride and go talk to them. Okay, make sure everything's okay. You gotta make sure the groom is okay. I gotta make sure the groom's still there. I gotta make sure everybody's there. And there's times they will say, oh, we have to wait. My mother's not here yet. Or there was the ring bearer. They was waiting for the ring bearer. Even in the snow or the rain, it does not matter. If it's the wedding, you have to be able to ready to go.
Yeah.
You cannot say, I can't come because it's raining outside. I done especially for Valentine's Day about 2 years ago. It was snowing. I mean, it was like everybody shut down. And then people said, I'm still getting married, I need you there. And I'm like, oh my goodness. I had to call an Uber. And I'm like, I could not believe it was really a bad experience. And I did the wedding. After it was over, I had to call another Uber to take me back, and it took me hours before I got home. So there's a lot of backstage that you don't know that goes with this. I would say to be a wedding officiant, you have to be called. You have to really be called as something that you really want to do. It's not you dap into, wow, Mary, you think it's cute. No, it's owning your own business. You have to do the same work owning your business. That is what it is.
Yeah. So that's what don't do this because you're chasing dollars.
Oh.
I mean, go do something else.
Another question, okay?
Go do something else. But if you just look at it like it's a great opportunity, and you have to, and some of the other things you got to think about is like public speaking.
Yes.
Can you talk in front of people?
Yes.
It is a completely different thing. Some people don't project
Can you
well.
articulate?
Yeah, some people can't project or anything.
Exactly.
They get there, they see the people, they get stage fright.
Yes.
So it's a whole nother beast. You know, it doesn't
And they could hear the nervousness, your voice shaking.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So you set the tone for the whole. To me, I believe it's the Officiant. We set the tone for the whole day.
For the whole day. That is true.
Yeah.
I've seen that. That is very much. Even my sister that goes with me, she said, I'm used to hearing Officiant. That is so boring. And then they just be like, oh my God, when this is gonna be over. But you have to have the talent to be able to hold the whole atmosphere. And like you said, setting the whole tone of joy and happiness where everybody's happy and the couple's happy. Especially, I had just recently had an experience on a personal vow that they were giving each other. And then the groom was so nervous he couldn't read it. He gave me the phone. He said, "You do it." And I'm like, oh my God. At that moment, I had to read it as it was coming from him. But he wrote it as, I am doing this. And so I had to read and change it. Okay, he said he is going to. And I had to. Oh my God. I could not believe it. I was like, oh. And then I had one at the last minute, and I believe she told me she wanted some type of sand or special ceremony that's not on there. And I had to quickly hold that, and I had to ask my sister, I said, did you notice that I had to turn the page, go someplace else, find the special ceremony, say it, act like it's okay. And you just say it like it's normal, and on the inside you screaming like, oh my God. And one time I forgot a page. And I'm looking like the next page is okay, and I had to quickly just make it up as I go, and then I asked myself, I said, how did? She said, you couldn't tell. Everything went beautiful. That comes with practice. Mm-hmm. That comes with being what you really want to do this, and knowing that you've done the work. That if a mistake happened, nobody else can tell but you, mm-hmm. Especially the couple. Oh my God!
I tell people it's like being on stage. It's like somebody said action.
Yes, exactly.
And it's time to make it happen.
Soon as they walk in, action, and you on, and eyes on you. What you gonna do? What you gonna say?
And you're like, oh.
Exactly.
So yeah.
So can you read that one?
All right.
And that handwriting.
Okay. I've been married twice, both by my pastor. Is it both times? My question is, why should I consider an officiant at all? I am truly considering going to the courthouse to get married next time.
You've been married twice by like two different husbands or the same man?
Yeah, but they were both done by a pastor. So now she's contemplating whether or not she should use the courthouse or an officiant.
Instead of going back to your pastor?
Or using a pastor again.
Okay, but it's really... I'll say your choice if you're happy with a pastor, but what we've said is that when you get a professional officiant, we're going to make sure that we're there. And number two, it's going to be according to customized to what you want and what you like. And going to the courthouse, I would say I would pick an officiant because, as we just said, as far as the courthouse, you know, you're picking up all the vibe. You're picking up all the vibe from the courthouse, like someone that we just said. The judge probably just finished sentencing somebody 20 years in jail, and then they turn around and say, "Would you take so and so as your husband?" But if this is something that you really want to do and you want your pastor to do it, that's fine. That you know, I'm not against pastors doing it. But it's just that we had a lot of calls that pastors canceled at the last minute and did not show up for the wedding because they had something else to do. And I just didn't want to make sure that does not happen to you when you hire a professional. You're going to get professional work. So, but if this is a preference, we're not against your preference.
Yeah, and I think the difference between the pastor, because I have the different outtake. So between a pastor, like you've been married twice already by a pastor. I feel like sometimes the pastor kind of gives you the side eye because they're looking at it always in the most biblical way.
I didn't want to say that, but it's a good one.
I'm just because I run a officiant, I
Yeah.
run a elopement place, and
Yeah.
with that I get a lot of people that come. So I've had a lot of people who are either on their second marriages, they've already invested a lot of money the first time in the church and the pastors, and they're just like, you know what, this time I don't need to do all this to say I love you.
Exactly.
This is my person. I want to be married to this person, and I don't need all that extra stuff.
Exactly.
So for me, why you should get an officiant versus the courthouse is the courthouse judge is just giving you a traditional template wedding. He's just going to read from a book something that he says for everybody. At least when you get an officiant, you can kind of work with that person and you can get your ceremony more tailored to who you are. You can build some type of relationship with that person so that the same way you would build a relationship, say, with your pastor, and they will know who you are and what you like and, you know, how you guys met. You can build that same relationship with your officiant so that when they put together a ceremony for you, it can be still special and you have the freedom of where you want to go. So the courthouse is nothing but the courthouse. Some of these courthouses are amazing and they're beautiful. And some courthouses are just blah and bland. So if you're somewhere where, I think it's like California, where like some of their courthouses are like gorgeous, get married at the courthouse. I'm not even going, I've seen the pictures. So, but if you don't have that as an option, I would suggest get you a really great officiant. Find you an amazing place in your city, a park,
Exactly.
where you guys met, something like that, and make it special.
Because the judge is not going to come to the park.
They're not.
They're not going to come to that special place. So in the officiant, you have that option to say, whether I come to your place or you come to my place or you pick a park, the judge is not going to do that. So,
Yeah.
and you're right. It's almost like the officiant is less judgment. It's less judgmental. And I didn't really want to say because I don't want to offend nobody, but it is less judgmental because we're going by what you want. And as you were talking, I'm thinking, yeah, because even with the judge of the courthouse, you can't do any special ceremony. You can't do candlelight, the unity ceremony. You can't do any type of special ceremony. You're going to have to just do it in, they don't have a beautiful script that speaks about your commitment and your love. It's basically, would you take so-and-so to me, I do. So it's basically bland, as
Yeah.
you said, and it's a template. So, but with the officiant, you could work with them. You could tell them, this is what I would like to see. This is what I'm feeling. This is what this is what we are. And this is, especially if it's something that I found love again. And you want to be able to cater to finding true love or reconnect. I had a couple that they knew each other since they were like 10 years old. And they went apart and got married. And then they came back. And so all of that was added in the ceremony of the soulmate type of thing that they meant to be together. So with the officiant, you have the opportunity to put all of that in the courthouse you don't.
Yeah, because courthouse, by law, technically, as an officiant, there's only like 3 questions that we have to ask you to make you married. Everything else is just what we add in to make it special.
Exactly.
But a person, nobody has to ask you any more of, do you take this man, do you take this woman? Once both of you guys say I do, we pronounce you and can send you on down the street.
Exactly.
Nothing special, no ring exchange, no nothing. That's all stuff that we decide to throw in or the judge can decide to give you. But they don't have to. They can just do the bare minimum of what's required to make you married. And you don't want to go somewhere to the courthouse and that person's running short on time and they give you the bare minimum.
Okay.
And they push you back on out the
Exactly.
door. And you're like, wait, I thought I was going to exchange rings or I thought this was going to be special. It's optional. So you can work with an officiant to make for sure that you have something special.
So basically, from what you said, the courthouse legal, period. With us, the officiant, it's not only we make it legal, we also make it special,
Yeah.
memorable, forever. So that was very good. That was very good. So that's basically in their mind, legal, and that's it. But with your pastor, I didn't want to offend anybody because I'm sure a lot of your pastors out here. So, but pastor's okay. But the officiant have more experience in wedding, more knowledge and wisdom in wedding. So to listen to an officiant and listen to a pastor, because the pastor really kind of keep it a little bit legal and more spiritual and more scriptures, and that's it. But the officiant is going to me, for me, I add a lot of love, commitment, the togetherness, the oneness in the wedding, more than that. And a lot of people will ask me, well, I don't really, I want God, but I don't want too much of God. Yeah, we mention God if you want God, but that day, God is not offended because I'm making that day about me, because He's still love. He's not offended if I don't add a scripture in my wedding ceremony. He's not offended about, because it's not church service. It's a difference between a wedding service, a wedding ceremony. I'm still in mid-service. A wedding ceremony and a church service. There's a difference. If that's your preference, that's fine. But the wedding ceremony, God is not offended if you are first. If it's about you, it's still God. You see? So it's about your love that He allow you to experience to one another. So with wedding officiant, you'll get more of that instead of the spiritual part or the legal part. So we like in the middle. You get the best of the best of the officiant. You have another question? 3 more questions.
Hot seat.
These are good questions. I don't know if you could read them.
Okay.
What is your greatest joy about being a wedding officiant? I like that one. My greatest joy is at the moment I'm officiating, at the moment watching the groom and the bride, especially when they say, we fine, we're not gonna cry, and they start crying. And because of their love for one another is, it's almost like you could feel the trembling in the atmosphere. And most of 90% of them, 99, I'm fine. And I usually ask the groom, you okay? You nervous? Yeah, I'm a little nervous, but I'm fine. And then as soon as the bride start walking in, and I have to find tissue for them. So those are, to me, the most joyful part of being the officiant. Watching that love between the couple just burst open in the atmosphere between the two. And it gives me an energy and a joy even when I speak. And it just brings out the best in me, I believe. So that's the joyous part of my being an officiant. So
I think that's part of mine. But yeah, it is. I know for me, it's just I get to meet so many great people.
yeah,
I've met so many amazing people, and their love stories are always amazing. So I'm always interested in how people meet. I'm nosy, so it's always how y'all meet. How long y'all been together? What brought y'all here? And so to hear so many different love stories and how people cross paths, and like you had one where like at that moment when they first met, they weren't supposed to be together,
Yeah.
and then like life happens,
Yes.
and then God puts them right back into a place where it's like, you know what, that's who you're supposed to be with.
exactly.
And you hear that story, you're like, oh my God,
That's beautiful.
like it's a how our lives work, how we can go years and end up right back in the same place and be like, hey, let's try this again.
And I love when you said, because that's one in my ceremony. I tell them, remind yourself often what brought you two together. That part you said is so important, because if you remember what brought you together, no matter what you go through, that's gonna be the glue.
It gives you something to go back to.
Yes,
it gives you something to remember why you did that.
Yes.
And then I think my favorite part of the wedding ceremony is when the bride comes out. I don't know what it is, but it's like it's a magical moment. The same way he be crying, I be thinking. I've had moments where I think I forgot I was even at the wedding, because she comes out and it's just a real magical place. Like the doors open, she's standing there like, I say I'm a princess, I'm from the 80s. She's standing there like Cinderella, Snow White at the end of the aisle. You're like,
oh my God.
girl, because sometimes we don't get to see the final, what that bride looks like.
Yes.
We pop in. I get there usually 45 minutes before the wedding starts. So I run over, I see the groom, I run over, I see the bride. Sometimes the bride is still getting herself together, so I don't see the final product of the bride. And then, I get with the planner, and before you know it, it's time to start. And then I'm doing my part. So when that bride finally walks out, you're just like,
that's our first day. Yes.
oh my God, girl, can I borrow the dress when you take
Okay.
it off?
You take that dress off and give it to me.
I'm gonna wear it all week just because you are so cute. I gotta be cute like
Exactly. And then there's another part that I love. the end. I tell them I purposely take my time and do it slowly. I now pronounce you. Y'all ready? Are you ready? And I just take my time. Mr. So and so and Mrs. So and so. And so that's another favorite part that I love.
And so the guy just kissed her. He's like, he ain't got time for
Exactly.
I had a guy, he just was like, forget you.
Okay.
Like, you're taking too long.
Okay.
To get this done. So now I'm like, let me let y'all kiss and stuff like that. So let me see. Our next question is.
You can see?
Yes.
Okay.
Kind of old, y'all. Okay. Have you ever faced what they call bridezillas, those difficult brides, and how do you calm them down? I think we kind of covered that.
I think so.
Yeah.
Somebody might have just came in.
So I think for me, the way I kind of calm down bridezillas is I try to be the most positive, calm energy in the space. Normally, a person cannot fight by themselves. Like if you meet them with the energy of we're about to go to war, then you're all going to have war. But if you meet them with a calm energy, with let's just see how we can get this fixed or how can I make this better, they're not bridezillas because they're crazy. They're bridezillas because a lot is going on in that moment, and it's just all going through their heads. So I think you have to bring them comfort, and once you bring them comfort, then usually you can bring them down.
Exactly.
And you can kind of show them that the situation can be fixed.
Exactly.
Because in their mind, the problem is it cannot be fixed.
Exactly.
So, even if they're having a problem, like I had one in my place, and she was just like, we got to get married now. She was so nervous. It wasn't really that she was a bridezilla, it was that she was extremely nervous.
Wow.
So all it took was me just to kind of walk up to her and say, okay, hold my hand. Let's breathe a little bit.
Exactly.
Let's do a few wooshaws and just kind of let her know, like, hey, you know this man.
Exactly.
You know exactly who you're going to meet when you get to the end of the aisle.
Exactly.
You didn't just meet this guy the other day. This is not an arranged marriage. You've known him almost all of your life.
Exactly.
So let's just understand that we're marrying your best friend right now. You're about to go see your best friend when you get to the end of this altar.
Yes.
And let's just calm down.
Yes.
And then it kind of just made her feel like, okay. And so the bridezilla left the room, and then we had a wedding.
Exactly. Bridezilla picked up and go. Usually this is what I do, especially when they first come in. I come in with how gorgeous she looked. Oh my God, you look absolutely beautiful. You're looking, and so I start talking about how gorgeous they look, say sexy they look. Oh my God. And when I start that conversation, you could literally see their face go, ooh, and they start changing. I'm like, girl, you're going to do it. We're going to do this. You're ready. I love it, but that's okay. And you just start with just speaking good, positive things. And usually when you tell them how wonderful and beautiful they look, and when they come down the altar, I tell them, I say, girl, you looking great. It's like, thank you. So they just kind of calm it down and like, okay. And then sometimes when I see them nervous during the time they're about to do, and I say, okay, just breathe. It's going to be all right. And you talk them down. It's going to be okay. And then they just kind of calm them down. So, but usually when I tell them how beautiful they look and sexy and you're looking gorgeous, that usually, oh, thank you. And they just come down, but they'll pick up and just go. And I would tell the mother, everybody how gorgeous they look, everybody the bridal party, and you all looking fabulous. So usually when you tell people how fabulous they look, they usually forget what they're mad about. You have another one? I hope this is helpful to everybody. This is good stuff for you. What would you look for in a wedding officiant if you were choosing one? If
for
you
yourself.
were choosing one for yourself.
Oh, you get
I'm
married,
gonna let you
girl.
start first.
Hey, girl.
I'll let you start first.
Okay, so I'm a goofy person. I am very friendly, warm. So for me to find a wedding officiant, I gotta find somebody who's like me. I think about this a lot because I got a daughter, and so I don't want to marry my daughter, but I will be the person who chooses her officiant because they must be like her mom. So I do not sell boring weddings. That is against my religion. So for me, if I was looking for a wedding officiant, they would be somebody who would be a version of how I see however I want my wedding to be. I want my wedding to be a place where nobody comes and they are sleep, bored, or anything. I want you to have energy from the time you walk into the building to the time that you tell people what I'm going to be doing next after the ceremony's over. So
Exactly.
that's very important to me. How they work with me when I meet with them. So I know that I would, like I said earlier, the consultation. I'm going to always book a consultation with somebody because I want to see if our personalities click. If they're my person, like just like how you have like your best friends, where you just feel like I've known that person forever. I want to feel like I've known my wedding officiant forever.
Exactly.
Because if you're joining in on one of the greatest days of my life, you're now kind of like family.
Exactly.
From the day I hire you to the day you show up and you spend that amazing day with me and all my family, you are family with me. And so you have to be able to know me and be able to take my energy and give it to everybody in the audience.
Exactly. Exactly. I like that. Me, I will find me. I will find someone exactly like myself. So I will have to find a copy of myself. I because it's the same thing that you say. I want someone that's going to take control of the atmosphere to make sure the atmosphere is good, happy. Someone that could just really take control of the altar. There's someone that even if there's a mistake or an error, they could just blend it in like. Someone that's able to walk you through the whole process, someone that could calm me down, someone that could give me wisdom when they see me out of control. What about everybody? That could just really kind of educate me in what I need, kind of. I don't know if that makes sense. Someone that not allowing me to just, well, I want this, and well, I want that too. Well, let me give you some wisdom. This is what I think this is going to work. Someone that could see what I need the best and give me the best. So I really would look like someone like me. I might marry myself. No,
She gonna write the wedding. She gonna be a bridezilla, y'all. She gonna be a bridezilla. She gonna be like, I wrote it myself. Say it like me.
Say it like that. Don't you say it that. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that because I don't like it when it's being done to me. So I have to remember
You
that.
gonna be
saying.
like that groom. Give me my paper so I can read
Okay,
this
so let me get my
myself.
stuff. Let me read myself. Okay, my husband, you repeat after me. And I go over there now. I am repeating. That would be so funny. No,
I don't have a wedding officiant. I got me.
but they usually say doctors are the worst patients, so I feel sorry for us. And then they have to be this special officiant creator because it's,
I might end up at the courthouse. Just ask me 3 questions.
Okay, that's
I
it.
can't judge you.
I do. Okay, then let's have a party because I'm not going to be able to handle it.
I do, he do, we done.
Okay? All right, man. Any other questions? All right, so I hope everybody enjoy the wisdom. For those of you who may be replaying, thank you so much. You still can ask questions on the comment. We could come back and answer any question that you like, or you could reach us. Riverwalk Wedding, HannahJosRay.com, and
You can find me at Put a Ring on It Dallas, or you can find me under Officiant Latrice Roman on Facebook.
okay. So you have experience. You look on all of our reviews. Google. We are not Wedding Wire, Thumbtack. We are. So you could read all of our work and experience that we had with other couples. You could look at the pictures, so you'll be able to literally get a history of who we are, and then you make a decision and say, I think I want to hire her for my wedding. So we do have our history out there. So don't hire anybody that don't have any review, and then you get upset. Don't do that. So, but we do premarital counseling. If you like premarital counseling, I recommend that. And postmarital counseling while you're still while you're married. So we do that too. So reach us. And go to our website, and thank you so much for taking the time out for asking questions in our podcast, and I hope you enjoy and you have yourself an absolutely awesome Sunday. Thank you. Bye.